Hey everybody, it's your Uncle Bear. Happy Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. Hope everybody had a safe and festive weekend, and also remembered why we have this this holiday. It's for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice so you can barbecue those burgers on Sunday, right? So, anyway, I want to talk a minute about something I read in the news, that the federal government has decided to no longer mint pennies. Now, we all know that pennies aren't worth a tinker's damn anymore, but here's my problem with this. Okay, they're going to save $56 million, allegedly, per year by not making them. Now, to you and me, $56 million, or even $1 million for that matter, for the average person, that's life-changing money, right? If somebody walked up and gave you $1 million, it'd be like, holy shit, I'm debt-free now, right? But to the federal government, who spends $6.8 trillion a year, which you or I, most people can't even wrap their head around how much $1 trillion is. I mean, it would, yeah, that's a shitload of money, $1 trillion. To tell you how much $1 trillion is, there is no trillionaire. There's no trillionaire. Elon Musk is probably the closest with, you know, almost a half a trillion. You know, he's worth almost $500 billion. But there's never been a trillionaire. That's how much a trillion is. And our government spends $6.8 trillion. So $56 million that they're saving, you know, like I say, to us, that's a lot of money. To them, it's pocket change. So, and here's my problem with it, okay? They are going to, when you go to the store, they're going to leave it to the merchant. You know, if it comes to $5.67, they're going to leave it to the merchant whether to round that down to $6.55 or up to $6.60, because the nickel is the next highest denomination of coin, correct? Guess which way they're always, if you have half a business brain as a merchant or business person, you're going to round that up every time. That's just human nature. It's common sense. But what you have to realize is our entire economy is based on percentages. Your interest rates, both on your savings account or on your mortgage interest, or the interest rate on your car. It's all percentages, and it says it right there in the word percent. You break down the word percent, it is percent, which translates to for every 100. So on a percentage basis, I mean, even in time, we go by century being 100 years. So it doesn't make sense to me to get rid of the cent, 1 cent. And what they're doing, you know, like I say, the merchant, you know, as far as a cash transaction or a check, is able to round it up or down. Well, not the check, the cash. But if you pay it with, you know, electronically, with a debit card, a credit card, anything like that, then you can go ahead and, you know, pay the pennies that way. And they're trying still to further us closer to a cashless society, which we don't want. Number one, every time you use your debit card or your credit card, you're making the big banks money. It's costing your local small businesses a percentage of their profit because they have to pay to accept your credit card or your debit card, which they may actually charge you a fee to accept. You may have to pay to use your debit card or your credit card. So, not to mention the fact that you'll no longer be able to pay your teenage neighbor to mow your lawn or to babysit or whatever, shovel snow, whatever, in cash. You will have to pay them electronically if we go to a cashless society. Now, why is that a bad thing? Because that means they'll be able to track every penny, every amount of money that teenager makes, and they'll probably start charging them tax. I don't think a teenager out learning work ethic should have to pay income tax to mow your lawn or to babysit your kid. There's some things, I mean, there are people that I pay to do work on my truck that I'm unable to do, but I pay them in cash because they charge less than taking it to a dealership or something like that. But if it's something minor that they're able to do and I'm not able to do, then yes, I'll go ahead and pay them in cash. And it saves me money, and it makes them a little money. So anyway, that's my take on that. I think the federal government should rethink this because, as I say, we don't want a cash society, and that's just one step closer to having it right there. Have a great day. Be safe, everybody. It is rainy up in South Dakota, and yeah, we're got an active year for thunderstorms and tornadoes, don't we? Be safe out there and keep an eye on that radar. We'll talk to you later. If you like these videos, like them, share them with all your friends, and subscribe, okay? And let me hear you in the comments.